Good morning, beautiful souls. Welcome to Tarot Time. And this morning, what we do is we do a forecast, an energy update for the coming week using tarot and other divination tools. I'll do a meditation card. And near the end, we'll do an energy transmission, a group prayer to help us and society along during this time of rapid awakening and ascension and a lot of hiccups along the way. And apologize, I'm running a little late this morning. Let's see what's been going on around here. Our water's down. The electricity went down, although it came back on, obviously, or I wouldn't be here. But the water's still out. So there's no morning cold shower today, no freshening up, just me raw. And here we are. And we've had a lot of activity from our sun. And now we come into the next phase of this, all the solar storm activity, where this energy gets funneled into the earth, into the atmosphere, into the earth and collective consciousness. So it should be a very interesting couple of weeks ahead. So before I get started, we'll grab some water, put my glass on, say hello to those of you that are here. Hello, Millie and Kaya or Kayla. It's hard for me to see. Mary's in, Karen Bear, hi. Oh, that says Kaya. Okay, Kaya May. Josh's Universe. Hi, Josh. Hi, Millie. Hi, Roseanne. Katie Bluebird, Yvonne, and Laura of Let's Spirit Guide. So far, that's who we have here today. All right, let me grab some more tea. Sorry, coffee, tea, or caffeine free on a chilly, kind of on and off snowy morning here in the Catskills. Coming into Thanksgiving season, so we're getting ready to finish off Scorpio season soon, and we have a new moon coming up, so that's a big deal. And during the new moon, we have Mercury will be conjunct. The moon will be at its apogee. That's how you say it, right? So the moon's going to be farthest from the Earth, but then a little closer to the sun. And then we have Mercury also along that straight line vector. So it's a conjunction in front of the sun. In astrology, we call it an inferior conjunction. And with Mercury, when Mercury's retrograde, the conjunctions are going to be the inferior conjunctions. When it's direct, it's circling on the opposite side of the sun. That's called a superior conjunction, if anybody cares. But what else is going on? The government's up and running. A lot of news around the Epstein files. I don't expect much of that anytime soon. There's a lot of legal red tape through the government that has to happen. And if my theory is correct, meaning that there's a lot of, or several high-ranking officials on both parties, by the way, that are implicated on that list, well, there's going to be resistance in making that being known public. And the government tends to control that. So it is what it is. But yeah, I'm going to, I did outline that and a lot of other things, including upcoming space weather, including the effects of this last geomagnetic storm or series of storms that we had that produced all the northern lights, but caused some scattered grid issues and a few satellite issues, radio blackouts. And as I explained on a post, we dodged a huge major bullet. The implications would have been Carrington event type of activity, given the fact that today's society relies on satellites and the electrical grid. It was different back in 1859. I mean, the solar storms, even all the three coronal mass ejections phasing. Well, the third one didn't quite phase. It's more like the pre plasma, what would you call that? The pre-wave acceleration before the third coronal mass ejection from the 5.1 flare. But the first two definitely phased and created that plasma rogue wave effect. And then if it had just been a few hours earlier with the third one being launched, that probably would have fully phased also, and it would have been a much stronger event, and a lot of would have gone down. So anyway, I put that's actually in a community post if you want to check out. It's really fascinating, the science behind that and everything lining up, that if it just was just a hair different, we might not have power right now. I might not be able to do this. So anyway, that's going on. So what else? Yeah, there's a lot going on. So we're gonna get into some tarot, but I want to say hi to you guys. See what we're saying. So hello, Felicia, welcome. And Josh is saying yes, the Earth's magnetosphere realigned. I don't doubt that. That's good. So I get a lot of my space weather information. Well, Stefan Burns, of course, great channel. And there's a few others, but another one worth mentioning is called Space Weather News. That's Ben Davidson's channel. And as a researcher, it's interesting because they're both extremely knowledgeable, but they disagree on key points. And it's interesting for me, to see their points of view as I'm formulating my own, feelings based on my intuition and my research. But it's really interesting stuff, and I've gotten so into it. For those that don't know, I'm a meteorologist by training. That was my degree. Meteorologist turned medium, basically, and that involves a fair amount of geology, earth sciences and whatnot. I graduated in 1980, so not a whole heck of a lot was known about space weather. So over the last couple of years, I've kind of been studying up, learning more and more about it, and it does affect us. It definitely affects the collective consciousness. You could even break that down scientifically, but I'm not going to do that this morning. Why that these solar flares with the coronal mass ejection, which is basically charged plasma. It's basically a plasma wave, boom, hitting the Earth, charging the electrical fields. Then the Sun-Earth alignment with the magnetic field has to have a southern or negative tilt. Otherwise, it doesn't couple well, and we don't get the auroras. I don't know. A lot of the energy gets deflected around the Earth. I have a feeling when we don't get a lot of auroras, more of that energy gets absorbed into the Earth. So it's protecting us, and the magnetic field's weakening. So there's that going on as well. So we're more vulnerable. I mean, it's not critically weak. A lot of the doom and gloomers will tell you that, but that's not the case. It's but it is weakening. It definitely is happening. So anyway, interesting stuff. So what else are you guys saying here? So Felicia, is this your horse? We placed fourth in top 10 last week. You go, girl, and horse. And Josh is saying Ben Davidson has an app, Space Weather Life. Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, that would be a good one to get. Thanks for letting us know. And if anybody else has favorite space weather channels that they like, I like that lady. What's her name? Tamishka or Tabitha, or I forgot her name, but oh, you see, I didn't shave this morning. Well, there's no water. We have no water here. I walked to the creek, which is down a hill, grab my bucket so I can flush my toilet. I've got, because I'm prepared for a longer term power outage here. I've got plenty of drinking water. That's not an issue. But anyway, not a lot of flushing water though. Anyway, so King, that's right. So what else are you guys saying? Hi everybody. Hi everybody. They are in all those files. We're back to I was going to say the X files, the Epstein files. Same thing, right? Only different. um, and hello, Kaya. Yeah, Kaya May. I went for a walk this morning, North Dakota. It was on 30, but it was a beautiful walk. North Dakota, I mean, I know, cold is cold, but 30 in mid-November, I mean, it could be -10, right, up in North Dakota this time of the year. So I think we'll take 30. Hello from New Jersey, Catherine. Welcome. I'm in the Catskills. I'm near Woodstock, New York. Most famous tiny village in the world, I think. Oh, so Mary's doing a lot of work here. Decided to dismantle the old heavy desk and move the furniture around. Yeah, if you guys are new, this is kind of our community hour also. So that's why I like to post your comments. And so we do a lot on Tarot Time. Oh, incidentally, at 1:11 p.m., 1:11 Eastern Time, that's when my next predictive video is coming out, where I can talk more about the recent solar activity, what that means for the Earth, for the atmosphere, because it's all juiced up now, and the collective consciousness and our trajectory and our ascension and awakening, and what's likely to happen, because it's going to energize the Earth. So expect pretty strong geological activity over the next 40 days. The way the Earth, I mean, the Earth moves in waves also. Everything moves in waves. And I often talk about this. The Earth, too, even solid, this moves in waves. So when there's an earthquake, there's a wave that goes all the way around the planet. So when all this intense solar activity comes in and it charges things up, it creates these kind of, not photonic, that's more from the solar flare, but these plasma waves that actually creates these very subtle ripples, and it sends energies, protons and other forms of radiation into the Earth, and it charges it up. And there's a lot of faults that are on the brink right now, so we'll see which ones fire up. We'll say some prayers that it comes in more innocuous places, like way out in the Aleutians, or, away from the water might be a good place where nobody lives, rather than the San Andreas Fault or Japan that's having an earthquake swarm as we speak. But it doesn't seem to be building, so maybe they're okay. Anyway, let's do some tarot. I know I'm digressing a little bit. So Jennifer/Jim, welcome. Hello, Janice Hennessy, welcome. And I love the happy vibe this morning also. So, and the high, I did look at it anymore. I built a new desk. Well, that's something. I got out of bed this morning. I was above ground, even though I couldn't bathe last night or this morning because I have no water here. Just my street. They fixed the water. The rest of the village of Phoenicia, just my street. That's the only one that's out. So yeah, I have a certain morning routine that I do that involves some meditation work, some breath work, and then this time of year it's a pretty ice cold shower. So it's. I think though this is your spirit's way of letting me and letting us know, things are getting less stable. If the grid goes down, I won't be bathing for a good while. It's like, let's get used to it, right? Let's be prepared. Maybe it's I wouldn't say a warning, but just a heads up that all this energy, all this changes in consciousness, changes of energies on the planet, all the stress, all the stuff, but these higher energies as well that intensify the clashes, it can lead to events that could involve us losing power, losing the grid, losing a lot of our modern conveniences that could be an extended period of time. So again, gentle or not so gentle reminders to make sure you can survive a long-term power outage, keeping in mind if it's long-term, unless you have solar power generators, it relies on gas and pumps aren't going to work, for too long. Just not to be scared, be prepared, right? That's the name of the game. And we are heading into these very uncertain times because we don't know in the next couple of years exactly what direction things are going to go. We do know there's more ascension coming. We do know that the powers that be are clamping on more controls, some of it through AI and related technologies. We do know there's pressures to conform to things like digital ID, which leads into conforming to transhumanism, or at least some level thereof. And a lot of people just see the writing on the wall and see through the agendas and don't want any part of it and want to continue the more organic evolution of our species and of our spirituality. And therefore large groups of us may be formulating sustainable communities and going off grid for a while. Depend on how quickly humanity can awaken. A lot of problems could be avoided if the awakening can accelerate. As of right now, I'm not seeing it, though people like myself are doing a lot of work to inject higher consciousness because, we're all a collective field. So the more people that wake up, that more people that take the blinders off and see what's really going on, starting with their connection with their own divinity, that's where awakening begins. Not by understanding the ills of politics on the earth, but by understanding who you truly are. That's what awakening really is. And then you gain these deeper insights into what's going on in the world around us. Otherwise, it's just a mishmash of different programs. There's right-wing programming, left-wing programming, religious programming, no matter what group you affiliate with. And we're a community species. Therefore, it's kind of written into our programming that we gravitate towards groups. So we feel comfortable when we have a group, whether it's right wing. Oh, wow, we've got all these people that are right wing, that are MAGA. I'll join them and be part of that energy. Or it could be left wing or whatever. So that's just how we're programmed. This is not good or bad. It just is. Well, it's good if we're in a survival situation because we need each other to survive. We don't have a lot of fur. We don't have these long canine teeth. We need to band together. I mean, you can survive alone, but it's a lot easier, in community, right? So anyway, I just sort of lost the point of that whole rap, but anyway, that be that as it may, the whole thing is just understanding how programming works and why programming is so effective, targeted towards certain groups, whether it's political ideologies, personal ideologies, or whatever it is. And the powers that be know that, and they exploit that. So the idea of awakening, if we transcend that, then we see what's really going on. So, if we can reach enough to accelerate and to enhance the collective awakening, people may get it, and we won't have to go to the extreme measures or having to pull out of society until they finally catch up. Then we can reintegrate. And a lot of it is through misuse of technology. We've been given this huge gift of technology. Given the limited knowledge that I have, leads me to believe that some of it may be extraterrestrial or may not be of this earth in our current level of what's the right word, of evolution. And it is a gift, but it can be used or abused, and it can be used to leverage power over others, like AI and digital IDs and stuff of that nature. But once humanity gets it, it actually becomes part of our ascension. It gets sort of assimilated. Yeah, even transhumanism can be a positive thing, but not right now. Not when we don't know who's going to be in charge of whatever technology we put in our body. And when every piece of technology that we own is subject to glitches, there's always flaws in technologies. I don't want that in my body. My body's got enough flaws, right? I'm 67, for God's sakes. Anyway, let's do a meditation card. And what are you guys saying also? So what's that area? However, at what point is anxiety phobia warning to change? Exactly. You can't, if you have anxiety, you can't just assume that you have some kind, it's a neurosis. It may be an intuitive response to what's going on. When I get anxiety, I pay attention to it. I don't try to avoid it. I try to feel it because I want to see what's my anxiety trying to tell me. There could be anxiety where suppressed traumas are rising to the surface. I'm doing a lot of shadow integration work. I've been really digging deep into mother wounding issues, and the work that I'm doing personally. Or it could be response to what I'm feeling outside of myself. But if I try to avoid it, because we're programmed to avoid pain and discomfort, then I'm not going to get the message. I'm not going to know why. And there is a message to it. So try to sit with it when it happens. And if it gets unbearable, then do what you need to do. If it's a glass of wine or a toke on the vape pen, whatever it is that, or a hot bath, that might be a little healthier. Some breathing exercises, that might be a little healthier. But whatever it is, oh, it's starting to snow again. Thankfully, the power's on. So let's do a meditation card. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Hello, Kai May. We are talking. Hello, Lakeside Laura. Oh, you missed my rap of the week, or my sermon of the week. I mean, a lot of people are in church now, so you might as well do a tarot time sermon, right? But anyways, and hello, Susan M. Connell. Yeah, and of course, you guys know that you can go back to the beginning and catch up what you missed. So those of you that jumped on, know we talked a little bit about the intense space weather, what that means, and that's another interesting debate. What were these auroras HARP generated or HARP augmented? I believe they were natural personally, but I'm open to evidence to the contrary. I mean, the one thing I'd say, it's not out of the question that they use this natural event with the producing the auroras to test upgrades of their equipment. So there could have been some HARP generated activity embedded within the natural show. That's certainly a possibility. And I that's something I've also tried to dig my heels into a little bit. I'm not really seeing enough evidence to support they can generate enough power in order to create a global aurora event artificially. I mean, I know generating radio waves. What is it? It's I forgot the range of radio waves. It's that the HARP generators use. Granted, it doesn't take a ton of power to generate that, but for a whole global aurora event, I guess it's possible. I don't know. Anyway, if you guys have anything to say about that, and if you know more than me, then please let me know, or let us know, I should say. That's good. So getting back more to spiritual, well, it's all spiritual. I've been able to hear my spirit guys say my name or say, that's beautiful. Yeah. Or just last night she said, it is all right. So cool. Yeah, it is. Life with spirit is better than life without spirit, surely. I think a lot of you can attest to how our butts have been saved through messages that we've received. Hello, Dora. Good morning. All right, so back to tarot, meditation card of the week. So I asked Spirit to tap into the energy to give us the right card to work with in our meditation. And I use the Hanson Roberts deck. If you have your own tarot cards, you can pull your own. Let me just... Okay, it's pretty easy. Interesting that we got this Knight of Swords, a knight in shining armor, so to speak. So courage and faith, as well as your valor can come up with the meaning. It's also very divine masculine because swords is air and knights are fire in the tarot. So we're talking about spirit guides, and perhaps this is a new guide trying to come in, charging into our fields now. So meditating with tarot cards, however your style of meditation is, I like to get just very present. I think that's virtually all meditation, that we just stop our thoughts, tune into our breath, relax the body. And a little secret that's not a secret if you've been watching the Medium channel for a while is that if you take a couple of deep cleansing breaths, inhaling love and light, exhaling stress and worry, then just relax your shoulders. Just feel all weight peeling off of your shoulders. Relax your chin and around your chin. then relax your forehead and continue to be aware of your breath. The rest of your body is going to let go and relax just by relaxing the 3 principal tension points. So you don't have to go into a long countdown. You can drop into the appropriate state, which is a light trance state conducive to this type of meditation. So once you relax, you just, what are you feeling? What do I feel energetically? What do I feel in my body? The next phase is that in my mind, I step into this card. So I step into the reality, which is the physical 3D, into this metaphysical universe or whatever the energy of the card is. So I step into that reality and I gauge what I feel. And by doing that, it doesn't mean I'm thinking, oh, how do I feel? No, you want to stay present. You just set a general intention. What am I feeling? Just be aware of what you're feeling in your body. Maybe you see colors. Maybe you hear things. And then just look around in your mind or feel around. If you're not visual, use your other intuitive senses. But and who is this guide? Who's this figure that's coming in? What do they have to tell you? Are there any other beings? Because this is just the doorway. This is the room is not seen through one little doorway, right? The whole like universe you just stepped into is not seen. And see what message you get, basically. I mean, I think what it's telling us is that the energies are going to be very strong this week. There could be more activity, like I was saying in the beginning, with the solar flares and how that energizes the earth fields and the fields of collective consciousness. It could be somebody coming or going into your life quickly. That could be a personal meaning for you guys. But I just think that things are going to happen quickly, and things may come up in the news, or ideas may come up that may not necessarily be the best thing. Maybe things that are trying to be forced on us. It almost feels like some next phase of something, of some new level of programming coming up in the world. Whether that has to do with the social credit scores too, but I meant the digital IDs and stuff like that. So anyway, let's do a 3 card spread now. I think you guys get the idea. Hey, Victor, welcome. I like the idea of a spiritual credit score. So Truth Waves does some very beautiful meditations on this channel. And if it ever aligns when I'm on YouTube, I'll sit in on another one because I enjoyed it. And of course, Josh's Universe, great channel, great community work there. And I'm not going to get to all of your channels, but please feel free to let us know that you have a YouTube channel, and if you want to, I don't think you can leave a link, but if you want to, say the name of your channel, what you do, and then people may just want to check it out. So anyhow, also Lakeside Laura, who I believe you recently reached 1,000 subs, Lakeside. There's another good channel for you. I know I'm forgetting a few of you, so I apologize. Millie has a channel, right? And yeah, like I said, anybody else, feel free to post. We're community here. We're not competing. We're assisting one another and co-joining in spiritual community. So let me grab some more tea. I went right for black tea. I really have not slept much this week. Well, not last night. The night before last I slept. That was the only night. I'm definitely feeling it. I'll see if these solar flares and all that happened, if it makes my hair more curly. This is uncombed hair because I couldn't wash it. I couldn't rinse it this morning. For those of you that got on late, I have no water. no running water anyways. I have a creek, so it's very survivable if I had a long-term problem here. All right. But what I was going to say is it'd be an interesting to see, those of us that have wavy or curly hair, like after a solar flare and all that, see if your hair's curlier. Just kidding, but half kidding, because in the Carrington event, people reported getting electrical shocks from things. Um, that was reported or estimated to be what was it? An X45 class flare. And then the Halloween event, I believe, was an X19, or was it a 29? Nothing with auroras in the Catskills. Nothing to even touch that event. Those were Icelandic style auroras, mostly white, which is really, really high energy. Some green, a touch of red, but it's mostly white auroras that was overhead that shot clear towards the southern horizon. And I'm at 41 degrees north, so that it wasn't a Carrington event, but it is the modern day equivalent. I think there's a stronger flare in 1972, but it didn't couple with the Earth's magnetic field. There's a BZ positive rather than negative. And anyway, I'm digressing. Let's do a 3-card spread. And I'm just getting some things, downloading about that, because what was going on in 1859 in the Carrington event? This was, if you were Native American, this was like the Great White Takeover was happening. Yeah, there were white settlers moving out west, creating villages or what, and then but the Native American nations were still there, depending on where you were. They could just imagine like being there, being on the reservation, and these intense lights in the sky, just these intense auroras they were shooting clear down to Mexico, just filling the sky. And I think it was like a prophecy. I think to them that was a great spiritual way of saying, hey, your life's really about to change now. Heads up, basically. Do I have my? I don't have my clipboard today, so I'm gonna wing it. I'm gonna hold these. Yeah, not to underestimate the value of a good night's sleep that I didn't get. All right, so here's the cards that we pulled. So I can kind of hold them up this way. I mean, I could. I know where the clipboard is. I could just run it off camera for a second. Yeah, let me do this. Your family, you don't mind. I'll be right back. All right. I just need my life to be as easy as possible, to be honest, right now. So you guys understand. So first thing is it's all wands today. All rods, all wands. This would be the 9 of rods reverse, the 6 of rods or wands, then the knight of wands. So 9, knight, and 6. Wands is energy. Wands is fire. Wands is passion. In a tarot reading, sometimes it comes up for career issues, but for an energy, what does fire do? It destroys, it creates, it changes, it transforms. Think of the phoenix. So we may be going into like a phoenix experience. For some of us, this is part of our spiritual awakening. We're in a waning moon, and it's a dark moon now, actually, coming into the new moon, which is here in New York. And also in Central Time, it's the 20th Mountain Time, and Western, as well as Hawaii and the island. It's the 19th, so I think it's 1:30 a.m. here. So it's Wednesday night. Thursday morning is the new moon, so it's right around the corner. So this is a good time for clearing, releasing. when we reach the end of a lunar cycle, it's ideal for letting things go. So doing some breath work, doing some healing work, some shadow integration work. And then, we head into the new moon energy that's going to be 28 degrees of Scorpio. So I think Tuesday night I'm going to do the video on the 5 things we need to know, because this new moon is a doozy. And Mercury and it's in its conjunction. It's not only perfectly aligned, especially with the 3-eye atlas, and I think new information's coming out about that also. Having jets all over that, is that propulsion systems? It's okay if I feed the debate whether it's extraterrestrial or not. Again, I think it's in the 3D views, it's a natural interstellar object. On other dimensions, it's a portal of information and consciousness that may have some extraterrestrial or interdimensional connections. But it's really receiving and sending information into the fields, but based on just what's known on the physical, with physics and electrical potential and stuff. Although I don't think anybody knows exactly what the large coma around 3-eye atlas is composed of, but the conjecture is it's largely dust and plasma, maybe some carbon and nickel, and other things, but that's very highly charged. So we found a tendency for these flares to fire out at 3-eye atlas, and the big sunspot group that launched all these X-class flares at us, when it was behind the sun, especially towards the western limb, right at Venus, and then 3-eye atlas was a little bit off of Venus. Though that was probably double-digit X-class flare, that first one. It was just, and they can't measure. That's probably on the order of an X20, and I have no way of knowing that. So that's just personal conjecture based on what I saw. And then there's 3 other comets in the inner solar system. There's Swan, there's Lemon, there's the Borisov comet. Yeah, that's the one that person that discovered it. And they all have their electrical signatures, and as they move through close to the sun, it's an electrical signature that's not usually there, so it affects the circuitry. So it's still theory, but we see it over and over again. And Stefan Burns really digs his heels into that one and explained why these moving bodies in our inner solar system is affecting the sun and enhancing, because we're really at the very end of solar maximum, technically. In fact, the sunspots dipped down to about in the 20s briefly, and then they shot back up again, which is a sign that we're really at the end of the solar maximum. But during the descending phase, you can still have some really cool flares, or not so cool flares, especially if there's some kind of an interstellar body or a strong comet near the sun. Like the last peak was around 2013 to 2014, but the biggest eruptive event on the sun was 2017. So that was clearly in the descending phase. But we also had Oumuamua between, in the inner orbit of Mercury, so it's very close to the sun right as that was happening. So again, there we have it. So back to the cards. Let all go. The 9 of Wands. 9 is a completion energy. It's reversed. Whenever there's in my way of reading tarot, whenever there's a bandage around the head, that could be psychic wounding, but it's also a sign of preparedness. It's almost like the figure, has his battle scars or hers, been through it, but they're ready. They're ready for the next thing. So prepare. This is, I think, our sign to prepare for things. And like I said, but the water going out, then the power going out this morning. It's like, okay, Spirit saying, this is what life could look like for a while if something major happened around here. But the 6 of Wands is that victory. It's the wreath here, right? The victory. And then the Knight of Wands is another one. When we're on horseback, we're moving in tarot. When we have Wand, we have a lot of energy. So I think we're going to see things moving fast. Now, granted, this one's reversed. This is fire, fire. Knights are fire. Wands are fire, and 6 is more air energy. In the Tree of Life Kabbalistic numerology, it's actually connected with I think it's Tiperet, which is the sun. It's the sixth sphere on the Tree of Life in the Kabbalah. So, oh, that's interesting too. And I think you get some good news that may be encouraging about the progress of things, related to governments and things of that nature. See what else? I'm seeing a lot of news. I think it's going to be a lot going on. I think there's a bit of a victory, but that's going to be needed to be followed up. Could this be? Although I think it's. I mean, I don't watch a lot of news for a reason, but I do try to stay ahead of the headlines. So I think with the Epstein files, again, like I was saying in the beginning, there's so many, or not so many, but there's enough at the top of the food chain, so to speak, in both in the Republican and Democratic parties that would be implicated by that list. I just don't see. I see more likely fall guys, like people that are less impactful, taking the hits for it. Well, but then again, as we evolve, we demand more truth. So that's not written in stone. We may see who's really involved. Are the Clintons involved? Is our president involved? Stuff like that. There's circumstantial evidence that could support that. So and I honestly, I don't care who it is. If they're part of that, I want to see justice, and I'm sure most of you feel the same way. So watch out for falling off your horse. So it's almost like I feel like we get on our horse, we're victorious, we're moving forward, but then something can happen to make us fall off of our horse again. So, because this is very charged energy, I think the other thing is a lot of fire, and the sun is here. There could be another major solar event in the next week or two. We have the new moon, then we have Mercury lined up with that. So the moon's in front of the Earth, and it's at its apogee, so it's farther from the Earth, therefore closer to the sun. Only by a few hundred kilometers, but it's still a little bit closer. That's gravitational, but it's also the electromagnetic fields, and I forgot the ratio, but the magnetic forces are somewhere on the order of 30 times stronger than gravitational forces. But anyway, and then Mercury's the next in that line, and Mercury is within the sun's magnetosphere, which I don't think is a measurable thing other than through electromagnetic instruments, I guess. So Mercury's always affecting that anyway. So when it's aligned with the Earth from the heliocentric perspective, the Earth, the moon, then Mercury, and then on the backside of the Earth, then we have Uranus, which is energetically Mercury's higher octave. So Uranus in the 28 degrees of Uranus is 28 degrees Taurus is in opposition. So we have a straight line, then you have Saturn and Neptune, which from the sun, from a heliocentric perspective, is in a perfect alignment also. And then you have the two trining planets, Pluto and Uranus. So it's very intense planetary geometry coupled with these 3i Atlas and these comets that are also affecting the fields. That's just a long way of saying that chances of more solar flares are dramatically higher, even though there's really no active sunspot groups that I'm aware of rotating into view. But the sun within 36 hours can create active sunspot groups. It doesn't take that long for that to happen. So we'll see what happens around the 19th, 20th, and then going into the following week. But I think the idea, because it's such intense frenetic energy with all the wands and fire, for us to really be aware of when we react to things, especially if it's fiery, which is usually anger and frustration and stuff like that. Really spend some extra time to ground, because fire's ungrounded energy, to take care of our bodies, to eat well, and to take advantage of all this fiery energy that fire creates, and it can add energy to whatever it is that you want to do or you want to create. You could get an extra energy surge, basically. So anyway, that's some information around that, and let me see what you guys are saying, and then I've got a few other things, and then we're going to do a little group energy work with the master teacher. So we'll do a transmission to help to sink into or sync with these energies to be balanced. Fire is a good thing in balance, but it can be out of control also. And to do some group prayers and to feed some positivity into the collective. What are you guys saying here? I'm missing your conversation. So Victor agreed, 700,000 missing children in North America a year. Would definitely appreciate them. Right. Thanks for putting that into perspective. That's what matters. Yeah, all the politics. Yeah, but that's what matters. Yeah. All right. Saying this is why the full list should be released. You'll probably be saying because of the victims, right? And then I was going to call you Michelle, well, Misha, but you're married. Yes, that is exactly. People screaming for don't know what the fuck they are summoning. They just hate one person on either side, and they think there is. Ha ha ha. Yeah. All right, what else? Releasing the lists would take down the world as we know it, which is the reason why they're not releasing the list. The great sync with Mount Herman. All right. So I'm missing so much of your conversation. Yeah. All right, so he's saying, wait. Mount Herman in Phoenicia. That can't be. Unless there's another Phoenicia. Phoenicia is about 41 to 42 degrees north. I'll just look that up now. We have Cornell Mountain and Wittenberg Mountain and Slide Mountain, not too far from us. We're saying about high peace, please, for people get ready. Need no ticket. Just get on board. Thank you. Yeah. Get on board that peace train, right? Or the cosmic train. Cosmic Charlie told us so. We're the deadheads here. All right, so let me do Native American deck card from our Native American tarot. I see 33 on chat, so there's a 33. Where's everybody else? Are they sleeping? No, I'm just kidding. Right on the peace train. Back in the day, I was a big Cat Stevens fan. And Cat Stevens became Yusuf Islam, was it? And then Cat Stevens again. Who covered Peace Train? Well, a couple of people did. I think Natalie Merchant covered Peace Train from 10,000 Maniacs. What's that guy's name that was in Woodstock? Richie Havens covered Peace Train. Great guitar work. Don't care for his voice too much, but that acoustic guitar work is is something special. But anyway, we talk about music around here too sometimes. For those that are new, we do. But let me go back to tarot. Here we go. The sun. We've been talking a little bit about the sun lately. I can't imagine why. And then it looks like there's like what is it? What's the right word? Murals in the sun. I mean, the sun does, the patterns of sunspots, filament ejections, the coronal holes, all of that. It is a tapestry because that's what it looks like, a big tapestry, right? And that's what the sun is. It's conscious, it's alive, it's transmitting information from spirit or the great central sun. There's no such thing as random sunspots and solar flares and activity. It's all part of a network. It's all part of a pattern that evolves. Yeah, everything travels in waves in this universe. There's light waves, there's sound waves, there's ocean waves, there's also plasma waves, and sometimes you get a plasma rogue wave. It's very rare, but we experienced that last week. We had an X 1.2 flare, or I think the first one was a 1.7. So we had a 1.7, and Ben Davidson, so that's Space Weather News, really brought that out, really talked about that there was also a plasma filament right near that had this little tornado, and a lot of that energy looped back into the sun. So the coronal mass ejection wasn't as strong with that one, and it was slower. Then 25 hours later, we had the X 1.2, but that was a clean one, and that was a longer duration flare. So it's not just the strength, but the duration. That produced a much larger and faster coronal mass ejection that caught up with the first one right when it was coming into the Earth. So we that's how rogue waves happen, when 2 or 3 waves sync and then they create a much larger wave. So a rogue wave in the plasma field. Oh, but then 25 hours after that, it's almost like you could set your watch to it almost. That was the big, what was it, a 5.1? And if that had been, I would estimate 6 hours earlier. Like if that had launched 6 hours early, it would have been more Earth direct. So instead of getting 90% of the energy that flare, we would have gotten 100%. And it was also the fastest. It only took 18 hours to reach the Earth. That would have caught up. So there was a pre-plasma shock wave that I think enhanced that, which is why we had such a strong solar storm. But if it had fully phased, it would have been probably 3 times stronger. Again, I wrote that all out for you in a community post, how we dodged a major bullet. Like people don't have any idea that we came that close to really a complete shutdown in our world. So breathe a sigh of relief. We're still here. So the sun is speaking to us. I think that's what that's trying to say. It's a language. And if you sped up everything up like 1,000-fold and you looked at all the solar flares and activity, there would be a discernible pattern that would probably mirror some form of sacred geometry, like a flower of life motif or Taurus, with spirals. Like everything has the waves and spirals on different dimensions, like our DNA. So we're learning a lot about the sun scientifically, but I think energetically we're learning more about the sun. And again, it may be another way of saying, watch out, the sun may not be done with us. And I don't think it is. I think right through January, and then it will probably start to subside after that. We shall see. Sun, 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 here we come. Sun, 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 here we come. What are some good sun songs? Here Comes the Sun. Here Comes Sunshine. Grateful Dead about the night. What year was that great flood? It was about, that song was about a flood. The Here Comes Sunshine by the Grateful Dead. Peter Gabriel. Oh, that's not about the sun. That's about the flood. But Here Comes the Flood's a great song. Listen to that, you'll get chills. Almost guaranteed. Here Comes the Flood. We'll say goodbye to flesh and blood. Let's do the frequency of the week. This will be from the Sacred Geometry deck. Good one. I got sunshine. Good one. All right, bring out your sunshine song, "Sunshine on My Shoulder." How can we forget John Denver? Love John Denver. Uh, yes, perfect. Any more sunshine songs? There's got to be dozens of them out there. And we take all genres except for gangster rap and death metal. Heavy metal, yes. Old rap, yes. Old rap was a beautiful. Well, I don't know if beautiful would be the right word, but it was an art form, and it was very politically relevant for its time. So yes, I like rap music too. Not gangster rap, but good rap. Walking on Sunshine. I forgot who did that one, but that's a good one. Yeah. John Denver's play. He had that kind of Palladian. I think you're saying Palladian, and yeah, he had that kind of Palladian vibe. The Sesame Street song, absolutely. Um, isn't there an Elton John song about the sun? I can't remember the name of it. It was a hit too. Can't remember the name of that one. Oh, I got sunshine on my shoulder, makes me happy. Walking on sunshine, yes. Or walking on the sun. I'm sorry. Here comes the sun. Absolute. You are my sunshine. Yep. Yeah, very good. You guys are getting down with the sunshine songs. And there is a little sunshine on a cloudy day here. All right, it's frequency of the week. Let's see if we pull something solar from here also. So we got all fire cards on the tarot. We got the sun card in the native tarot. Well, this is third eye is more Neptunian or energy. But anyway, so this is key 6, the third eye chakra. So yes, we're probably getting third eye activations through all the solar activity. We can bring the sun in to this conversation also, even though this looks more like stars to me. Um, um, the sun always shines on TV. That one I'm not familiar with. Interesting. Anyway, so what it says is the frequency of the third eye chakra, the indigo flower of life, supports our intuition and our inner knowing, our imagination, and our psychic power. So, this would be another message that if we relax, like a lot of this energetic downloads that we've received through all the solar activity, it might be able to enhance our chakras and activate our upper chakras. Do some supernatural breathing this week. You can look that up on YouTube under Joe Dispenza, supernatural breathing. I've taught it on the channel too. But basically, that's a dynamic breath exercise where you actually bring the energy from your lower chakras into your third eye and crown and hold it there. And it has amazing benefits. I do that. That's the first thing I do in my morning routine. And it usually takes about 5 or 6 breaths, but then I wake up. And according to Joe Dispenza, doing that breath will convert the melatonin to serotonin in the body, the sleep hormone to the awake hormone, as well as squeezing spinal fluids up into the brain. So it's very beneficial. And any third chakra meditation and psychic work is conducive. Sunny side of the street, yes. Let's get that Sesame Street energy going. We need kids' energy. All righty then. What time is it? Let's do a nicest oracle card, and then I think we'll do a couple of quickies here. And then I think we're going to do a transmission. Oh, Kundalini, yeah, thank you. That would make sense because what are you doing? The Kundalini's rising when you're doing that breath, yeah. And truth be told, being that I'm a Kundalini yogi, I mean, Joe Dispenza is brilliant, but he also has a tendency to, from what I see, to take a lot of these old wisdom, which is good. I think you should do this. Take a lot of these old wisdoms and then modernize it and repackage it, basically, because it's very similar breath techniques to supernatural breathing in Kundalini yoga, where you squeeze the energy up that way also. Yeah, and I feel like Spear saying, yeah, it does, it's still original, but there's one truth. So of course, modern teachers are going to tap into the wisdom of the ancient teachers because it's the same teaching, just a different time. He's also a brilliant marketer, I must say. So this is the Isis Oracle deck. So we get a quick message from our Egyptian guides, and the message we got here is the miracle of Isis. So that's what this card looks like. Yeah, he's for yeah, I get a lot of that too. That really, I had like this Kundalini activation around 2012. And by 2013, 2014, I just couldn't sleep. And I actually stopped my Kundalini yoga practice for about a year. And then what I didn't realize at the time, that was the last solar maximum. So the energies were very strong then. There's a lesser solar maximum than this one, but it's still solar maximum. So anyway, miraculous healing of the goddess. So there's a time also to work on our miraculous healings. And we are miracles. And we do have the capacity to heal things that doctors don't understand yet through intention, through energy, through breath, and other natural means. Mind over matter is very, very powerful. So take all the solar energy, because the suns can be healing also. You take the solar energy in, maybe breathe the sun and your intention into areas of the body that need healing or conditions that need healing. Add a little extra sunlight, a little extra chi and prana. In your mind, visualize it's already healed. Thank Great Spirit. Be very grateful for the healing that's already happened. I've healed a few things that doctors couldn't by doing just what I'm saying. So we are miracles, yeah. Yeah, oh, Kundalini yoga is great. It's just like so many spiritual organizations, they tend to get taken over by egos, male egos usually, and it's because it's my theory is because it's such a powerful practice that there's those that wanted to control it, and if you know a little bit about Yogi Bhajan's history, you can kind of see some correlations, but to me, that does not take away anything from the practice. The practice is very powerful and brilliant, and it's channeled. So that's what I have to say about that. And last but not least for today, I've got a little Kyle Gray energy. Speak of Kundalini yoga, he practices and teaches that also. And this is called the Divine. I think this is the Divine Master's Oracle. Shiva, fire. Oh my goodness. So what does they say? Shiva, karma release. The end of a cycle, debts are paid. Choose your destiny. I like that message. And maybe all this activity is bringing a lot to the surface, right? We talk about shadow integration. Well, shadows can hide from the sun, right? Like if I shine a light on a shadow, if it's bright enough, the shadow disappears in the light. It gets integrated into the light. So all this energy is going to help us according to the message I'm getting from this card and their shadow integration work. It's really the time because we are ascending. You could call it New Earth. You could call it 5D. I call it multidimensionality because I don't think it's just 5D. I think that term is tossed around by people that don't really understand exactly what that means. I mean, there's the kind of science, meaning of the 5D as well as the metaphysical meaning, which is a little bit different, but I guess they overlap. But we just live in a multidimensional universe, and when we reach higher and higher dimensional realities, it's almost like there's different layers of being or reality that we start to become more aware of and start to interact with. But we're always in the 5D. We're always in all the dimensions. It's just where our awareness goes is what matters. And because we're in bodies, because we're programmed, and because we have to take care of the physical need, we're hyper-focused just on the 3D and forget that we have all these other dimensional realities that we're connected to. So anyway, on that note, I think based on everything that's come up, our transmission this afternoon now, because it's after noon, is going to be a solar transmission to energize the energies of the central sun expressed within, to help to open up new pathways of information, spiritual information, to awaken dormant DNA. And once we get that, we'll do our prayers and send that out into the consciousness and into the world. The sun will shed light, right? And will provide healing and knowledge and wisdom, because there is new knowledge and wisdom that's coming in. Something else that I wanted to say. Oh yeah, if you guys want to check out my latest video, it's dropping at 1:11 Eastern time, where I'll talk a lot more about the solar activity. It's a psychic forecast, for the new moon and beyond. So we talk about the Epstein list, what Spirit told me about that, what's going on there, what's going on with the solar flares and its effects on the Earth, on the atmosphere, and on society. So I think it was an interesting video. We'll see what the response is when it comes out. But in the meantime, let's just get nice and relaxed. So we'll apply what I said earlier. Let's just take a couple of nice deep cleansing breaths. Inhale love and light, positive energy of the universe. Exhaling, releasing any stuck energy, other people's energies, all the programming that's really force-fed on us. But when the inhale, you're taking joy and light that's beyond any human programming. Exhaling, releasing all that, feeling shoulders relaxing. Feeling chin relaxed. And forehead relaxed. And we work with sound vibrations. So as the master teachers, they're just a name that I give them based on the person that taught me. I sat on her channelings every week for about over 2 years. She called them the master teachers. And about a decade later, they started to come to me, and I started to channel them, which is interesting. So anyway, but they're energetic. They're beings of light. They're not physical. They're not Pleiadian or Arcturians. They're not ETs. Although they explained some of them were of those societies. But then you reach a certain level of ascension where you're just light. You're not physical anymore, and then you become part of this huge collective of energies. But anyways, what I was going to say is a lot of it's through voice transmission, through toning, and a little light language also. So just get nice and relaxed. Greetings, dears. This is a time in your trajectory, as it were, to charge forward, to not let the society around you stop you. And why do we say this? Because you are accumulating enough information to know right from wrong, to know what's coming from your spirit versus what's coming from your ego and the programming. This is a time for action. Yes, do your meditation, do your law of attraction work, contemplate, visualize, and all that. But you're coming to the point of action. You're coming to the point, what we call the tipping point, or what you call the tipping point on your world, where it's going from one phase, which is more the dark phase, we're virtually, energetically speaking, approaching the twilight before the sunrise now on your world, where the new knowledge, the new light shines on. And this is a time to prepare your inner light to receive the greater light of spirit. So based on this information, we will assist through our transmission with you this evening, this afternoon. Haha, we cannot tell time. And we shall work with you on this, in this light, in the spiritual central solar light. Relax, we are raising the frequencies, which means we're not literally changing the cosmic forces. We shall say, magnifying them through your higher self and your divine wishes in order to accelerate the flows through you and around, as well as heighten the frequencies, fine-tune the energies and such. So relax and breathe. Open the heart. Let the sun shine in your heart. Sunshine in your stomach. Aha, we got the channel's attention. There's another song, another sunshine song. All right. We need to align with the channel to get the proper tone. Haha. There we go. Dios dia ea Motiato se yakapapasu vacheniama emanato. As we are raising the frequencies with you, feel the sunshine in your heart, in the center of your chest, illuminating your heart chakra, expanding upwards and downwards and outwards all around in a giant sphere, an expanding sun, just as one day your sun will expand as a red giant. Allow the sunshine of your heart to expand, igniting your throat and sacral and central chakra, your solar plexus chakra, and your sacral and your third eye, and expanding out through your crown, through your root, through your soul star chakra, your earth star chakra, expanding out all directions. You are the sun, you are the center of your own universe. Wherever you go, the sun shines from within through the outside, clears the shadows of misinformation, of negative programming, of false evidence appearing real, and all that stuff. There is nothing to fear by transcending the biological fear, as it were, the natural fear of your species of dying, which, by the way, has kept you alive for many thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years to be exact. So it's not a bad thing, but it's transcendable into higher light, transmuting the fear of death, the biological fear of death, into the knowledge of everlasting life, that there is no death. Even the sun will never die. It may burn out. It may become a black dwarf, as it were. only to join through its dust to new nebulas to create a new star, and life continues. Just like in your season of dying, well, the spring will come and new life will come. Feel the sun shining out through your heart, through your body, and out into infinity. Hold that intention. Are you ready for an upgrade? Just relax, allow. Raise the frequencies. Jose Malafutu Papa Fofusia Papa Tete Mama Yoda Shoko Papa Chono and feel that sunshine, that warm sunshine, the glow of love expanding within you and around you. And we are all holding hands, feeling the energetic trends of the connection between all beings, starting with those who are in the circle presently. Whether you're here live or as a video, it's still presently. Expanding that to the other beings of your earth, the other beings of your dimension, the other beings of your universe, the other beings of the multiverse. All one. All alive. And all feeding life force into the collective, supporting each other's lives. And within this great circle of light, of solar energy, we place our prayers for your planet, Mother Earth, for you and your loved ones to accelerate healing, to recognize the karma behind disease, to create permanent, lasting healing through knowledge and information and compassion. Facing all that need some solar boost, energize their systems for cleansing, clearing in your dark moon phase, for upgrades, for spiritual upgrades, to tap into those higher healing forces that you all possess but are dormant through your level of evolution combined with your programming. But it's there, and it's activating. Heal the sun, activating the collective healing process. Sending tons of love, high vibration into the earth and collective fields. We will finish the transmission as one with all and all with one. Raising the frequencies. Keep your intention of prayers in your heart. Sibiadotus Yamake Huftia Hashote Mako Lamana Hela Hema Hena Koshanyo. And let's ground the energies. Feel the energies grounding through your body, through your root, feet into the floor, into the earth. Feel your roots strong and deep now. Feel within your auric fields at the base, maybe off right or off left, a little opening, a little tailpipe, releasing any excess energy from this transmission or the static charges that can build through this type of work. Just let that drain back into the earth. So you come out of this very calm and peaceful. Deepen your breathing. When you're ready, open your eyes. And as you're coming around, and Tuesday, 8 p.m., we'll do the new moon forecast. Maybe we'll do it Monday. Well, if we do Monday, I'll have the event up for you. Wednesday, this is on Spirit Mind Family. That's a Patreon group. That's where we go deeper into all these topics, including deeper channeling and ascension work. So that's on Patreon. So Wednesday, we'll do the new moon transmission on Patreon. Then Thursday, the new moon transmission on the Medium channel on YouTube. We'll see if we can grab Heather, the healer, Heather Istara, and if she's available, we'll both be on Thursday doing healing transmission work for you. And that's it. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to sign off for now. You guys that jumped on a little bit late, you can go back to the beginning and catch everything. Thank you, Laura. Have a wonderful day. And thank you to other Laura and not you. Well, you're not Josh, Victor. Well, Josh too. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Hi, Erica. Hi, Lindsay. It's a good idea building your own little home space. Living in a school. I know somebody that's lived in a school bus. I mean, you could make that work, right? Not ideal, but you could make it work. Oh, thank you. Five Mahal Kita. Welcome. All right, so I'm signing off. So love you guys. Thanks again. See you the next video, 1:11 p.m.